Rainollon here. Today's another build showcase, and it's the Heliocor. Heliocor is a very weird hammer that has a really good passive, and the passive is when you kill enemies, you scan enemies, which is quite good. If you want to scan enemies and collect enemies for simulacrum to test them out, I will highly recommend this weapon and this build, which I'm going to show you right now. So the mods I'm using on my Heliocor, I'm using Prime Pressure Point for melee damage, Given as Steel for critical chance, double on heavy attack slams, Given as Reflect for heavy attack efficiency. Both of them gives you something after 4 kills. One gives you 120 critical damage and the other one gives you 80 initial combo. 80 initial combo is 5x all the time, which is going to help you with slams and give you more and more damage. Northwind for huge amount of cold damage. Prime Fever Strike, huge amount of toxin damage. Toxin and cold gives you viral. It has a really small chance to proc viral, but I'm not using this for viral. I'm using it for a huge amount of increased damage, and this is quite good. Organ Shatter for critical damage. Seismic Wave for melee slam damage, and Killing Blow for more damage and heavy attack wind-up speed. So these are the mods. For the Arcane melee exposure, I find this the best one. I did try to use melee duplicate, but sometimes I orange, sometimes I yellow, so it's not really that consistent for dupe. You can use it, but I think exposure is better. Exposure, what it does, it gives you 240% corrosion damage, which same thing like viral. We're not going to be proccing. Sometimes, if we are lucky, we can proc this. But most of the times, you're not going to be proccing this aspect. I'm only using melee exposure for more increased damage to make my slams do huge amount of damage, which is very important for a slam build. So that's the whole purpose why I'm using melee exposure and why I will recommend using melee exposure. Passive. Kills with this weapon performs a codex scan on the target. So this is quite good. If you want to scan, like I said, this is the best scanning. Rather than using Helium or the codex scanner yourself, you can just go in with a slam Warframe and just slam and kill enemies really fast and scan them. One downside is you're not getting any rep, which is quite a massive shame. I wish there's some way they can look into this and make this viable, have a purpose to use this. But right now, this whole purpose of this passive and this weapon is just to scan enemies. And if you want to scan, I will highly recommend this weapon. For the stats, the only thing we care about here is critical chance is really good. Crit multi is average, but it's fine. Slash chance is horrible. And the heavy attack slam does 34,000, which is quite good, I will say. So those are the stats, the passive, the mods, and the arcane. I think it's time for me to show you this weapon in game. So time for me to show you this weapon. Give me just a second. And I'm finally in. I'm going to be up against the corrupted enemies. The map is called Mod. This is survival at the void. Steel path, of course. I'm not going to use any buffs to armor strip. I'm just going to slam. As you can see, these guys are getting one tap. So how do I know if I scan an enemy with this weapon? They will turn green when you kill them. Right there. There it is. Because I already scanned... Whoa! Because I already scanned all of these enemies, I'm not getting anything. But if I never scan these guys, or you guys didn't scan any of them, they're always going to be green dudes. And I think the reason why it's showing me green enemies when I kill them, I think it's a bug. I already scanned these guys entirely. But yeah, it's a really good scanner. This is also without buffs or armor strip. So if you were to use a Kullervo or Varuna, you're going to do millions of damage. You're going to one-tap these guys and scan them really fast. It's much better than this Sentinel and the scanner, the Codex. It's like not even close. It's quite good. You're also playing the game, you know. That's another thing which is quite good. How do I perform a heavy attack slam? You jump into the air and you press the alternative fire mode button, which is the middle mouse by default, and you do a heavy attack slam. If you see a massive shockwave on the floor, that's a heavy attack slam. That means you successfully did it, and you're doing millions of damage. Before people ask, is this a really good slammer? No. I think this is a fine slammer. There are, of course, much better slammers. Like the Magistar Incarnon, the Architectron, The Sea Bear, they're like much better slammers. Sympathis, Tenet X. But this thing has a passive that is quite nice for new players and for people that didn't scan at all. It's going to like save you a huge amount of time. Vor is here. Let me just kill Vor, see how much damage he will do. Eximus enemies. Sadly, against Corpus it isn't really good because Corpus can shield gate. So if you do billions of damage, you need to do double slams against Corpus enemies. First slam is going to destroy their shield, and the second slam is going to kill them. You can see that they are the only ones that are surviving. Where are you, Vor? Oh, there he is. 1 slam, 2, 3 slams. 3 slams and Vor is dead. Toxic Barrage. That's a really good shotgun mod. For no buffs or armor strip, this isn't half bad, especially against Steel Path enemies. I'm going to wait for the Acolyte. The Acolyte is also going to die in a decent speed. I'm also farming some Argon Crystals, which is quite nice. Since I started making YouTube videos and doing mod survival, I have so many Argon Crystals, which is quite funny. So I'm constantly feeding my helmet with it. And this map is quite good for testing out weapons, and that's mostly because we have heavy gunners, we have the bombards, we have lancers, which are armored enemies. There are Corpus units, which have shield and health. There is also an infested unit, which are the ancients, which are infested enemies. And it's quite nice to show you against every faction in here. Yep, that enemy is also dead. So if, like I said, if you see a yellow dude, not a yellow dude, a green dude, that means you scan them. Alright. Slam, slam, slam. That Eximus unit get 1 tap. I'm not using melee exposure at all this entire time. So now if I were to spam some abilities, you're going to see top right here, melee exposure. Gives me 240% corrosion damage. And of course, like I said, I'm not using melee exposure for the corrosion, I'm using it for giving me a huge amount of increased damage, which is going to help my slams do much more damage. So now I'm constantly doing millions of damage to 3 millions. I'm going to be up against Acolyte. 1 slam, 2 slams, Acolyte is dead. So it's quite good, and that's also a really nice way you can scan some really dangerous enemies, because heavy tech slam builds are quite powerful now. They quite fast release huge amount of damage compared to regular melee weapons. And yeah, time for me to extract. I think I've shown this weapon enough, so give me just a second. Heliocor isn't half bad at all. I think it's a good slammer, especially with a unique passive for to scan enemies for you. I think that's quite nice. Of course, there are better slammers than the Heliocor, but having ability to scan is amazing. Every time new content comes out, I'm definitely going to use that hammer. Just do heavy attack slams, kill enemies, scan them, to have them for Simulacrum to test out weapons and exalted weapons and secondaries and melee weapons and all that stuff. It's just quite nice. Really nice passive. Sadly, it doesn't give you any rep. I wish it did. It will be kinda good, I will say. There's a purpose to use it, but it doesn't. Overall, it's a solid slammer. I will recommend for scanning, and I hope you enjoy the build. Thank you everybody for watching. Leave a like, sub, and see you all next time. Thank you. Goodbye.